DK Metcalf has been one of the most talked about prospects in the lead up to the 2019 NFL Draft. Now, a lot of that is due to the viral photo in which he just looked like a superhero, just an absolute jacked beast, and his combine performance, which was tremendous. And a lot of people are of the mindset that, hey, like, this guy's going to be unstoppable, right? There's no way to contain a wide receiver that's this big, that's this fast, that's this athletic. He's a beast. And for that reason, he's widely considered the number one wide receiver in this class. He's a consensus number one amongst fans, analysts, and it feels like NFL teams. But I very much have my doubts on Metcalf and what he'll be able to do at the next level in the NFL. So my issues with him start with his college production, which is not exceptional. Now, he hasn't played that many games in college, largely due to injury, which is also concerning. He's only played 21 games throughout his career at Ole Miss, and he only played one full season. That was in 2017. In that year, he had 39 catches for 646 yards and 7 touchdowns, which is good, but not crazy. And he only played 7 games as a junior due to a broken neck, and only played 2 games as a freshman due to a broken foot. But even more troublesome than his actual stats is the way he played. And when you watch him, it's clear that he has some serious limitations. And that starts with his route running ability, which is poor. He really only ran 3 routes all season. He's got a very limited route tree, which is not what you want to see. You know, the top wide receivers in the NFL, the Odell Beckhams, the Antonio Browns, if you look at slot guys, Jarvis Landry's, the Julian Edelmans, they can all run any route you want, right? They have that versatility, they have that route running ability, which is crucial to NFL success as a wide receiver. And Metcalf just doesn't have that running ability, and it's probably something that won't get better in the NFL, as I'll talk about later. But I really want to focus on one particular game in his most recent college season that kind of exemplified his issues. Now, it was against LSU, and he was matched up with Greedy Williams, who's considered a first-round prospect at the cornerback position, someone I'm a big fan of. And in that game, Metcalf only had 3 catches for 37 yards on 14 targets against Greedy Williams. Now, that's really concerning because that was the closest matchup he'll get to an NFL-caliber cornerback, and he was totally shut down. And he was shut down because he's just not a good wide receiver. Yes, he's got straight line speed. Yes, he's big and physical. But he's not a good wide receiver. He's not the full package. And this is all connected, but I want to transition into his performance at the NFL Combine. Now, he had a roller coaster of a scouting combine, right? So he started off on fire. He measured in at nearly 6'4" and 228 pounds with broad shoulders, a barrel chest, and long arms. His measurements kind of reinforced what we already knew. Metcalf is built physically like a phenom. Next came the bench press, where Metcalf repped 225 pounds, a whopping 27 times, which tied the NFL Scouting Combine record for wide receivers. Then came the speed, jump, and an agility test where Metcalf again started off super hot. He posted a vertical jump of 40.5 inches, good for the 93rd percentile among wide receivers. So physically, so far, so good, right? And as we can see from that famous viral photo, it makes sense. But the real highlight of DK Metcalf's combine performance, which brought a lot of attention and really got the conversation going for him as the top wide receiver in the draft, was his performance in the 40-yard dash, right? I mean, he ran a 4.33 40, which was good for the 95th percentile among wide receivers. And, you look at it historically for perspective, Brandon Cooks ran a 4.33, while, T.Y. Hilton and Tavon Austin ran 4.34s, and those are little fast guys. Those are considered some of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL, let alone a big, physical monster beast like Metcalf. You're thinking, wow, this guy's unstoppable. But from that point on, Metcalf would struggle. In his 3-cone drill, he ran 7.38 seconds. In his short shuttle, he posted 4.5 seconds. Both of these are super worrisome, as they're good for just the 2nd and 3rd percentile among wide receivers. In fact, Tom Brady, yes, the Tom Brady, ran a faster time in the 3-cone and short shuttle than Metcalf, which again is rather alarming. Of the 550-plus wide receivers to compete in the Combine since 2000, Metcalf's 7.38 3-cone ranks 24th worst. And a lot of people said, hey, well, he slipped when he was doing his 3-cone at the combine, which, yeah, he did, but a lot of that is due to the stiffness he has because of his lack of agility. And when he ran the 3-cone at the pro day, it wasn't much better. So I just want to get that out of the way. That 3-cone is a pretty accurate time and representation of his, short space agility and speed. So what I did is I looked at the last 3 years and created a list of wideouts that ran within 0.2 of a second of Metcalf's 3-cone time. And of this list, which I'm going to mention, Metcalf is very much near the bottom of it in terms of his time. So you have Karan White, Kermit Whitfield, Alonzo Russell, Carlos Henderson, Malachi Dupree, Artavis Scott, Jaleel Scott, Naquan Murray, Aaron Burbridge, Darius Rogers, Kevon Lucas, Jake Winicky, Jester Weah, Jazz Ferguson, Keyshawn Johnson, Traven Doral, Kavaris Garrett, Gary Jennings, Azeel Ruffin, DK Metcalf, Geronimo Allison, and Alex Wesley. That's Metcalf's company in terms of the 3-cone drill. Now, with the exception of Geronimo Allison, who's been, okay with Green Bay as a depth wide receiver, kind of a fringe NFL guy to be fair, none of those other guys have lasted in the league, right? It's a really concerning stat for him. Interestingly, the only wide receiver with the worst 3-cone to be drafted before round 6 were Steve Smith Sr. and Chad Johnson. So not only do those players that ran so slow in the 3-cone not have good NFL careers, they don't even get drafted that high, right? That's kind of a deal breaker for NFL teams. And you look at it across the board, you can make a great argument. In fact, it's probably, not just an argument, it's just a fact that the 3-cone drill is the NFL Combine's most important drill, right? No test of the Combine translates better to the football field better than the 3-cone drill. And that's been exemplified by the way the New England Patriots view the 3-cone, right? In terms of the guys they pick, you can kind of look at it just like a chart where if you have a good 3-cone drill time, you're going to be high on the Patriots depth chart, right? It's a very important stat that just translates. It simply does. It matters a lot across the board, especially to wide receivers. And again, as I alluded to earlier, the 3-cone drill really, impedes a wide receiver's ability to run routes crisply and smoothly. And it's just an ability that Metcalf doesn't have and likely won't get better. Yet, I kind of want to conclude this video by mentioning a few wide receivers that I do like in this upcoming draft. Now, my type wide receiver is Akeem Butler, who's a size speed freak who dominated in 2018 and is 6'5", 227 pounds. 55% of his receptions gained 20-plus yards, which is the highest rate in this class. He leads the class in YPR, 5th in yards gained per route, according to PFF, and he tested as a 98th percentile athlete in height-adjusted 40-yard dash. Kind of the way I look at it is that Akeem Butler is what everyone wants DK Metcalf to be. Let's also compare Metcalf's combine numbers against Miles Boykin, who's another wide receiver prospect. Now size, Boykin 6'4", 220, and Metcalf is, 6'3", 6'4", 228. In the 40, Boykin ran 4.42, Metcalf 4.33. Vertical, Boykin 43.5, Metcalf 40.5. Broad jump, Boykin 140, Metcalf 134. 20-yard shuttle, Boykin 4.07, Metcalf 4.5. And 3-cone drill, Boykin 6.77, Metcalf 7.38. And again, just to hammer home the importance of the 3-cone, a guy that I see Metcalf being compared to quite a bit actually is Julio Jones, obviously one of the top receivers in the NFL. And Julio Jones' 3-cone was 6.66, nice, and his short shuttle was 4.25, again, while Metcalf was 7.38 in the 3-cone and 4.5 in the short shuttle. In a lot of ways, Metcalf is quite similar to Kevin White, who's the number 7 overall pick in 2015 by the Chicago Bears, but has obviously had a very difficult time in the NFL, largely due to injuries, but when he has been on the field, he hasn't shown much other than an ability to run straight line, be strong, but he can't run routes, and he's just not a complete wide receiver, which impedes his ability to produce on the field. I do want to end the video by mentioning that I'm not saying Metcalf won't have an NFL career at all. His athletic tools make him very interesting as a prospect and are useful for a wide receiver, but quite frankly, he just has some pretty considerable flaws. What I'm saying is that Metcalf is a limited role player that's absolutely not worthy of a first-round pick. I think realistically, the high-end, ceiling of his comparisons is a Mike Evans, Marquise Colston type, which is still very good, and there's a chance he, gets to that level because he does have some things that you can't teach in terms of his size, strength, and straight line speed. But overall, he's just not there as a complete wide receiver and is not someone that you should take high in the draft, in my opinion. If you disagree, please let me know why. Make sure to check out my other videos on the NFL draft. I've made quite a few. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RespectThePoint. Like the video if you enjoyed it or found it interesting. Subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. And thank you for watching. Bye.